Hey day K-Show fans, it is Power Rankings week once again. Lucas Jones, Dan K, two brains, one big argument about to happen, about to take place. We're going to bring you our new and improved Power Rankings 1 month after the first ones we put out. Premier Elite coming at you next. Yo, Lucas, why am I doing my tough guy stance?
Are you compensating for something?
Well, yes, but also, I'm ready to talk Power Rankings. It's Power Rankings time. Lucas, we put a lot of time and effort into this, didn't we?
We did.
We had some fights. We had some squabbles.
Also that.
I don't know what a squabble is. I used to think it was a small bird that almost looked like a turkey, like you draw it on your hand. You know, I thought that was a squabble.
No, it's not. But I can see, I mean, it's not too far off. I mean, except for being completely wrong.
Hey, well, squabble, 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 you turkeys at home. It's time for the Power Rankings. Let's look at the Elite first, Lucas. We're going to go into the Elite, and with that, I'm going to run through last top 10 that we put together. This was during the break, winter break, and this was a different league at that time. It's amazing how when these guys come back from winter break, how different things can be. 1 month ago, here's what our Elite Power Rankings were. At 10 were the Richmond Generals. Number 9, the Boston Bandits. Number 8, the Tampa Juniors. Following them up, number 7, the Florida Junior Blades. At 6 were the Hampton Roads Whalers. At 5, the Islanders Hockey Club. At 4, the New Hampshire Monarchs. At 3, the Charlotte Rush. 2, the Jersey Hitmen. And leading the way were the Boston Junior Bruins. A lot has been Bruins in the last month, and a lot has changed, Lucas. With that in mind, I think number 10 is where we're going to start, and you can start off with that first team, Lucas.
Well, Dan, I'm going to have to put on my glasses for A, dramatic effect, and B, so I can actually see what I'm reading here.
I wrote these down in very, very doctor-like chicken scratch. I write very tiny, very small, and also with different colors because I got a multicolored pen.
Exactly. And I forgot my contacts, so the glasses are getting their second show this week. At number 10, we've got the Northern Cyclones at 23, 12, and 2.
Nice job on a 3, Lucas. I thought it was a 7. It is 23, 12, and 2. This is a team that's won 4 out of their last 5 and shut out the Bruins. This is a team on the right track, in the right direction. A Bruins team we had at number 1 gets shut out by this Cyclones team. And if you want to get yourself to climb up into the top 10, they take over that 10 spot, bumping the Richmond Generals out of the top 10. With that, we move to number 9. And it's a team that's stealing their way into the same spot they had last go around. The Boston Bandits, they're 27, 10, and 1, and they've stuck strong in that number 9 spot. They've been consistent.
Yeah, they've proven that they can exist in the top 10, you know, that they can exist in the spot that we had them in. And they've beaten some good teams, they've lost a few games, but they're a team that's on the right track.
You know, you look at number 8, Lucas, and it looks like a team's dropped back a few spots here.
Yeah, that's true. You know, the New Hampshire Monarchs have moved into 8th place in the Power Rankings.
And, you know, this comes from a situation, they're in a very difficult division, right? And they're going to play a lot of difficult opponents. And as of late, they've been starting to fall a little bit. They've been struggling against some of these top opponents. It's been a tough schedule down the stretch. They have time to turn it around, but they've dropped themselves to number 8 here. Nothing to be ashamed of. This is a very, very tight race down the stretch. We go to number 7, it's the New Jersey Rockets. And you know, this Rockets team, I look, nowhere in the top 10. They've gone from outside the top 10 to get themselves to 20, 12, and 4. And you know, they beat that Monarchs team that they're ahead of 5-0 earlier this year in a big-time shutout win. They also have Devin Ralph. And Devin Ralph is leading the league in points with 78 points for this New Jersey Rockets team. How potent of a scorer is Ralph?
I mean, we were making Wayne Gretzky jokes before. You know, this is a guy, when you put up numbers like that, there's really no argument against that. And that's what we always talk about for Power Rankings. This is the source of the argument is, okay, you made the argument for, but what's the argument against?
Yep.
There's no argument against 78 points on your team.
No. On any team. I mean, you look at the Elite, you have a lot of big-time goal getters, a lot of big-time point getters, a lot of big-time assist guys. The talent in it, the skill has been impeccable this year. Devin Ralph, one of the best in this division. When you have a skater like Devin Ralph, you always are involved come playoff time. That's how the Rockets get into the top 10. We go to number 6, Lucas. Looks like this is going to be a team that stayed in the same spot as well.
That's true. We have the Hampton Roads Whalers at 27-7-4, 161 goals for, 96 goals against, proving that sometimes the best offense is a good defense, and the best defense is a good offense.
You know, they used to say go west, but how about go east, lack? Gary Eastlack. Gary Eastlack, the leading point getter for this Hampton Roads team. All roads leading to Hamptons. They stay in the 6th spot. They look like they were going to make a run forward. They look like they might drop back, but they've done just enough to kind of keep themselves solidified right in the middle of this race. Come playoff time, they will be involved. Take my word for it. Going to number 5, this is a team we had at number 1 just a month ago. And that shows you just how much has changed in the last month. They are not a bad team.
No.
They are not a struggling team. There are 4 teams that are just hot as a fox in a forest fire, as one would say. The Boston Junior Bruins dropped themselves to 5-23-10-2. They were swept by the Hitmen. One of those teams that we may be talking about a little later in these power rankings that have been hot of late. Boston Junior Bruins, they have the goaltending, they have the goal scoring. Everybody hits a rough patch. I think they're hitting it at the right time. Just how good could they be come playoff time?
Yeah, they could be unbeatable come playoff time. You know, it's one of those teams, and again, this is a conversation that we're going to have later in the premiere as well, that you have good teams that roll through rough patches. And every team, no matter how good they are, is going to roll through a rough patch. Now, whether that rough patch is giving up more goals than they normally would or taking some losses, you know, that depends on a lot of factors, not the least of which is a little bit of luck. But you talk about the Boston Junior Bruins, they're a team that has all the pieces. They're hitting that rough patch now. You know what? Get that rough patch out before the last month and a half of the season, before the playoffs.
Get the kinks out now. You got to have that losing streak somewhere along the line on your schedule. Boston doing it early. They'll have time to get the ship righted there. Talking about having the ship right, you know, they had the All-Star game down in Tampa. You know, they had the big time Pirate Festival. They had the Gasparilla down in Tampa. And you know, the ship has been righted in Tampa because the Tampa Juniors riding in like pirates during Gasparilla, one of the biggest parades of the year, pirate themed. If you haven't been, go. It's incredible, it's impeccable, it's stupendous. Tampa Bay Juniors make the biggest jump, tied for the biggest jump in these power rankings from 8 last time around to 4. They're 28-10-2. They're first in Florida. And they've been close with everybody. They've won 10 straight. Their loss to the Bruins, they got shut out by them, but they only lost by 1. They've competed with some of the best squads. They could be dangerous come playoff time.
They absolutely can. You know, there's such a high-powered offense, and you know, yes, you can make the argument they've lost, you know, to the Bruins, but I would argue two counter arguments to that. They lost to the Bruins 1-0. So a very close game. They were shut out, but a very close game nonetheless. 1-0 is in fact the closest game that you can have.
That is.
Mathematically speaking, and still have a winner and a loser. And you know, also, when you don't have a lot of games played against an opponent, when you don't have those data points, you can't actually draw a conclusion from 1 or 2 data points. You almost need to be interdivision to be able to have a matchup against somebody. So I think the Juniors, because they've been hot, the Bruins, because they've been a little colder, puts the Juniors at 4 with the Bruins at 5.
I like it. I agree with you on that. You know, Lucas and I, we had a lot of battles during this, and I love this Bruins team. I think the Bruins are a team that are going to turn around. But Lucas won the battle on this Tampa Bay Junior squad. He had every line, he had every stat, he had everything ready for me. Tampa Bay Junior slotting at 4. We go to number 3, and this is a team I think we both agreed belonged up in the top 3. Yeah, some talk about where they could slot, where they could land. Jersey Hitmen, 27-7-2. And this is a team led by Chris Conway, the leading point getter. But then the next 2 guys down, Eddie Corvelli and Eddie Dada. These guys sound like they could be a Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis pairing in a 1950s Italian sitcom. These 2, you know, Eddie Dada, Eddie Corvelli, 2 of the best names in North Jersey, playing hockey. You want to talk about Eddie Dada? I have to talk about this young man, this skater. You want to talk about getting time and space, creating things when he has the puck on his stick, and you want to talk about being a guy who skates well without the puck? Eddie Dada, I've watched him play a few times, and he is someone who stands out to me. When I talk to folks, I say, watch out for Dada, because he's like a magician saying "ta-da" when he gets the puck on his stick. He's been that good.
Yeah, I mean, the Hitmen are perennial contenders, and, you know, it's not one of those situations where you say, oh, well, it's the Hitmen, they have to be in the top 10. No, they prove themselves every year, every month of the season, that they are a top 10 team, and, you know, even when they run through those rough patches, they come right out with fire and fury, Dan. So the Hitmen easily, I think, slotted into number 3.
Easily, he says, and talk about a team who makes it look easy each and every week. Going to number 2 from number 3 last go around, the Charlotte Rush rushing up the board here on the power rankings. 35-5-0. They have over 200 goals for. They score. They hit. They finish shifts. They're deep. Just how good are the Rush?
They've been phenomenal. And the funny thing is, Dan, 207 goals for is not even the most goals that a Rush team has scored in their level.
We'll talk about that in the
We'll talk
premiere.
about that in the premiere. But, you know, they can score goals, they can play defense, they skate fast, they skate hard. You know, they are a team that I feel like if I'm accidentally too close to them while they're warming up, they might accidentally get spooked and score 3 goals on me.
Oh, they score quick, they score fast, and they hit hard. I thought you were going to say you were worried about getting hit, because that's what I'm worried about. I'm not trying to take a hit from one of these guys. They're physical on the ice, off the ice, very, very close-knit group of guys up there. The Charlotte Rush organization knows how to put it together. We go to number 1. Do you want to take the honors? Because I said that the Tampa Bay Juniors tied for the biggest jump. And that's because this team at number 1 is tied with them. Who's number 1?
It's IHC, number 1. They're 28-3-2, first in the North with 12 straight wins.
12 straight wins for this team. And you want to talk about power rankings. The best thing about power rankings, it's not about the standings, right? Because folks are going to watch at home, these fans are going to watch, and you're going to get upset about your team, and that's what we love. We want you to get upset. You're a fan of the Florida Junior Blades, and you've seen your team drop from 7th out of this top 10. Argue with us. Let us know. Richmond Generals fans, do the same. It's something here where there's just so much depth in these elite and premier levels that it makes it tough. And with the power rankings, you have to go hottest team, right? You have to go who is in it now. Because when I look at the Bruins and the IHC squads, they're going to battle. They're going to compete. When I look at the South Shore Kings, when I look at some of these squads, they can all battle. But this IHC squad with 28 wins, 28-3-2, they have to be at the top of these right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're hot, no one can really deny the opportunity to be number 1. It's the kind of thing where because they've won so many games, and because other teams have gone a little cold at this point in the season, you have to put them up there, because power rankings are who right now is feared the most.
That's
Who
it.
right now, when they walk into your rink, do you go, uh-oh? And there's no other team that gets a bigger uh-oh than IHC.
I'll tell you that, and they have the depth like we talked about. At this elite level, it's all about that 3rd, 4th line play when you get the playoff time. If you're scoring from the 3rd and 4th lines, which IHC does, which Charlotte does, which the New Hampshire Monarchs do, the Boston Bruins do it, these teams all score deep, and that's where the difference lies, because you can wear out your opponent, tire them down, wait till late to make your strike. That's what these teams are doing, and we're going to strike next with the premier power rankings coming up once we take a deep breath and we re-power up. I'm going to take about 7 cups of protein powder and get myself going. That's probably not safe. I won't do that.
Want Dan K and Lucas Jones to come to your town? Follow Dan and Lucas on Twitter. Dan at Dan_Kamichik and Lucas Jones at LJones1138 hashtag The Dan K Show. Get more of The Dan K Show on their YouTube channel.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, if you agree, disagree with those elite level predictions, let us know. Talk to us on Twitter at @the_Dan K Show. Let us know what you thought. If you liked it, didn't like it, let us know either way. But now it's time to move to the Premier League power rankings. And just like with the Elite, we're going to start with the power rankings that we made last month. At number 10 were the Florida Eels. Number 9, Minnesota Moose. Number 8, Carolina Eagles. 7, Syracuse Stars. 6, Hampton Roads Whalers. 5, New Hampshire Monarchs. 4, Minnesota Blue Ox. 3, New Jersey Rockets. 2, South Shore Kings. And at number 1 were the Charlotte Rush.
And you remember that Charlotte Rush team that we talked about. I mean, very strong Rush team. We'll see if they stayed at number 1. But first we start at number 10, and we go to a team that didn't make the list last go around, but they've continued to win. They've continued to extend their lead on the Midwest East Division. They have it in hand right now. They are in first. They are comfortable. They are flying high. They are led by a man who looks like he starred in the movie Top Gun. Brad Stofers and the Chicago Cougars cracking the case here at number 10. I'll tell you what, these guys were in the danger zone for a little while, and they are looking at the vanilla sky right now. It's nothing but vanilla skies for them. They're cruising into the top 10 power rankings.
Well, they were a team who started off a little inverted. You know, I like how you stole my Vanilla Sky reference.
I know, I
earlier.
did. That was from him. I took that from Lucas. Every once in a while I steal.
You got to do it. The Chicago Cougars, they were a team that was inverted for a little bit. They were kind of struggling, you know, and they've sort of found their groove. You know, they found their fuel. They've hit the afterburners straight into the top 10. They are at 27-9-1 right now. They're looking good. There's really no other way to describe the Cougars.
I'll tell you what, they look as good as a beach volleyball scene in the middle of an 80s movie. That's how good they look. You could tell me that it's Mission Impossible 1, 2, or 3 trying to crack the case here and get themselves into the playoffs, but I'll tell you what, they'll climb a plane to get there if they have to. Tom Cruise. Coach Brad Stofers looks kind of like Tom Cruise. Let's move to number 9. Let's go to number 9. If you didn't get all those references about Tom Cruise, look them up online. Younger folks, go watch a Tom Cruise movie. It's pretty interesting. They're good, they're bad, they're indifferent. They're usually good though. Check them out. We're going to go to number 9 now, and you know, this is a team that was at number 6 at both the Elite and the Premier, and they've fallen back here to number 9. It's the Hampton Roads Whalers, 25-11-2. A little shaky of late. The Rush have really been giving them problems.
Yeah, I mean, any team that inhabits a division with the Rush is going to have issues.
Yeah.
You know, they score a lot of goals on you, and no matter how potent of a team you are in that division, you know, you almost feel like you're lucky to split a series with them, split the season series.
Yep.
But Hampton Roads, we've watched them a couple of times, and I think I said while we were doing the power rankings, I said they are a team who can beat anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
They're not a team that you walk in and you go, we got this. They're a team that they can beat anybody because they've got that quality where they can go into the intermission and come out looking like a completely different team.
They got a lot of speed. They have a lot of speed. They can carry the puck into the zone. They can play the forecheck game. They can get the puck in and tape-to-tape passing. I'll tell you what, this is a tough pick for us because the Richmond Generals have been so good. And the Carolina Eagles have been so good down there in the Southeast. There was a lot of argument between the two of us about which one of these 3 teams is going to slot into that 9 spot. Hampton Roads takes it because they were in these rankings the last go around. I don't think they played their way out of them. That's the argument. That's kind of where it landed. I won the argument on that one. We go to number 8 though, and this is an argument we didn't know where to put this team.
Yeah.
We left them out last go around, this team at number 8. And their head coach went as far as to call us out in person to our face and say, how about them power rankings? That's Coach Lenny Childs in the Skipjacks Hockey Club, who at 22-9-7 have won 9 of their last 10 since we made our power rankings, and then shoved it in our face that they did so. And then I said hashtag DanKBump because obviously I have to take the credit when something like that happens after we call them out. And then Lucas and Sonia Desmond, one of our best fans, not very happy with that.
No, she was not happy with you at all. And we're going to get to that, I think, in the empty net. But, you know, the Skipjacks, they've been using the hashtag GetJacked.
Yep.
Which I think is the perfect hashtag for what they're doing, And 9 of the last 10, you come out of that break, and the holiday break can be such a make or break thing for a team. You can come out of that energized. You could be the same team, the worst team, or a better team, or like a completely revitalized team. And I think that's what the Skipjacks have been.
The Skipjacks look good right now. They just look like it's clicking. They get where they're going. It seems like a team that got off to a slow start, and then all of a sudden those afterburners kick in and they just start going. Mm-hmm. And when they get going, they are a tough train to stop on the tracks. And talking about tough trains to stop on the tracks, we go to number 7. This is a team that's fallen a little bit too. That's kind of the trend right now. Not as much teams falling due to bad play, but teams really jumping into that second gear in the second half and moving ahead. Here's a team, the South Shore Kings. They've been a little shaky of late, not playing as good as they wanted to. The South Shore Kings go to number 7 for number 2 last go around. They're 23-8-5, but they're coming off a 7-0 shutout defeat of the Boston Junior Bruins.
Yeah, and when you're a team that was finding success and then entering that rough patch, like we talked about in the elite division, I think with the Boston Junior Bruins.
Yeah.
How they're a team that's maybe hitting their rough patch now. A 7-0 win against a team like that, that's revitalizing in of itself.
Yes.
You know, so it's one of those things where, like I said, you're going to hit a rough patch, but when are you going to hit it? Are you going to hit it in the playoffs? Are you going to hit it in the beginning of the season? Now's the time to hit that rough patch. Go back to the drawing board if you have to. Figure a few things out. Get back on track. They can be that playoff threat, that playoff fear for a lot of teams. They have all of the pieces. They have great offense, great defense, great goaltending. They're a team that is going to be difficult to handle come playoff time.
Well, you can see it. You don't beat a team like the Boston Junior Bruins 7-0 by accident. That isn't a mistake. You don't just come out of nowhere and beat a team like that. In the first place, 1-0. Nonetheless, 7-0. South Shore has the depth. They've got the goaltending, which is always important come playoff time. They've got the defensemen that get in the way of pucks, block shots. They don't let a lot through. And they have the forward play that can get the puck out of the zone and maintain some pressure, sustain some pressure. And, that's really what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to the team effort come playoff time. South Shore has it. They have to figure it out right now. They figured it out in that 7-0 win to the Boston Junior Bruins. Moving ahead to number 6, we go to a team that found themselves at 4 last go-around. But they've fallen back a little bit in that state of Minnesota rivalry. We'll be very interested to hear the Blue Ox slide in at number 6 at 27-7-3.
Well, it's funny you talk about the Minnesota rivalry because part of the reason that they've slipped back is not because they've been worse. It's because a team that they seem to play quite a bit has decided to just go ahead and start winning a whole bunch of games. And we're going to get to that team later. But the Blue Ox are a team that are still an excellent team, an excellent group of guys. They're making it click on offense. They're making it happen on defense. They've got great leadership, great organization, some great media coming out of that team too. If you have a chance to shoot over to that section of their USPHL page, find their homepage, click around on the media. They've got some great stuff coming out of the Blue Ox organization. So they're still solidly in this top 10 power rankings.
And they're larger in charge, man. A bunch of Paul Bunyan skating out there with the Blue Ox. That's really how this team plays. You don't want to play a large team come playoff time.
No.
And you saw that when the LA Kings really went through their dynasty portion of being the Los Angeles Kings. They would play just well enough to get into the playoffs. They would play just well enough to compete season long. And then they just brought this size and this swagger into the postseason, into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And they just wore you down. And they won 7-game series after 7-game series. And every go-around, each round, everyone would go, they can't keep winning 7-game series. They'll be exhausted. They're going to get beat eventually. And they just continue to wear teams down. That's what this Blue Ox team can do come playoff time. Watch out. That's a team you don't want to see in your list. And speaking of teams you don't want to see come playoff time, how about number 5? This is a team, consistency. Consistency is the word I'll use for this team. The New Hampshire Junior Monarchs at 27-5-1.
And the thing that I love most about the Monarchs is that 27-5 and 1 overtime loss. That to me shows a team that is either going to win or lose in regulation.
Yep.
And they don't often lose. So you got a group of guys here who are high energy, high octane, and if they happen to be losing in the third period, you better batten down the hatches really, really tight.
They don't lose. They don't lose at home. Good luck. Good luck come playoff time if you've got to enter that building, because I can guarantee you, I know a good handful of folks who are going to be bringing the noise. I know a guy with a big horn who's out there playing a horn, blasting a horn. That is one of the toughest hockey environments in the USPHL, if not the toughest. The last couple of years I've written an article about the toughest places to play in the USPHL, and I'll tell you what, if I wrote it today, that would be my choice. It is that difficult to play in, and it is that fun of an atmosphere to be a New Hampshire Junior Monarch. It's got to lift those guys up. It takes them to another level, and every time they play at home, they're a different team.
Yeah, it's true. And even when they play on the road, we heard the guy with the air horn at the Monarchs game.
Yep.
And then I'm at a showcase. I think it was at the Nessick. So
Yes.
I was at the and
Marlboro,
I'm taking pictures of a couple of teams, and all of a sudden I hear, "Brrr." They brought the horn with them. So even when you're on the road playing the Monarchs, you're not safe.
They travel.
This is a team that excited to see them next year too.
Want to talk about loud noises? How about Rockets? The New Jersey Rockets. They're revving up their engines. They were 3 last time. They dropped back 1 spot. 28-5-3, 188 goals for, 99 against. Great defense is the note I have here, and that's a Lucas Jones note, and that's why he put these guys at number 3.
Well, number four, yeah.
Number 4. My
Number
numbers
4.
are off. This is a guy who, once you give me, these are 20 different numbers I'm saying. 1 through 10 and then 1 through 10 again. That's a lot of numbers for a guy from Baldwin.
So the Rockets are at number 4. Their defense is phenomenal. They're a team that I think we've gotten a chance to watch them now because, like I mentioned before, they're really close to where I live, so I've been getting a chance to watch them a lot. They are so fast, and they are so skilled. They're a team that they're made up of such individually skilled skaters who then work together. I was talking to Jonesy about this, and I said they remind me of the Power Rangers. The 5 individual people who come together to form a Megazord. And when they do that, they are nearly unstoppable. So that's why I think the Rockets deserve to be at number 4. They're making a push.
I can't remember the last time I've referenced Power Rangers on a show. Very good job. Very good job there by Lucas referencing Power Rangers. We go to number 3, and this is where the argument ensued. I highlighted these two because Lucas and I were battling hard between the Rockets and their great defense and the Syracuse Stars. And I battled, and I said, look, I'll give you anything else. I need to win this one. I need one here. And this is where the scraping and clawing happened. Syracuse Stars slotted at number 3. And we watched this team. I did play-by-play. Lucas on the color commentary. We did our whole broadcast setup, intermission reports at the Ice Vault Arena when the Stars took on the Hitmen. And they impressed. They shined bright. This team is 38-2. They're first in an incredibly tough North Division. It is difficult in the Norris this year. Syracuse Stars, how skilled did they look when we watched them play?
Oh, they're phenomenal. I do love defense, and the Rockets, they show a lot of defense, but the Stars, they utilize their defensemen in a little bit of a different way, right? So the Stars are a team that they seem to breed lightning snipers from the blue line. Like it seems like every level of the Stars has 2 defensemen that are skating out on the ice, and they're holding their stick perennially up, just waiting
it's
for
like
that
they've been
shot.
cloning Shea Webbers. Little Shea Webbers have just been popping out of the Syracuse area. And it's incredible to watch them play. And then they let these guys pinch. These guys will skate with the puck too. And they get deep into that zone. They try to score. They're not afraid to take the thing on net. And at times, those forwards don't know what to do. When you have a D-man who can shoot from the blue line, and you're sitting there ready to block a shot, next thing you know, he skates himself up to the point, skates himself through the zone. You don't always know what to do. They draw a lot of tripping penalties. They draw a lot of problems. They create a lot of backhanded shots off of rebound tries. Very, very difficult Stars team. I wouldn't want to face them come playoff time. Speaking of teams I wouldn't want to face come playoff time, we go to number 2. Lucas, this is the biggest jump in the power rankings in either league at any time this year or in the history of Dan K Show Power Rankings. All I can say is antlers up. Tell them who's number 2.
Minnesota Moose are number 2 at 32, 5, and 2. They've been using that hashtag lately, hashtag antlers up. We love to see that. The Minnesota Moose, Dan wrote so much stuff down, he's got a little bit of chicken scratch here.
Oh, there's so much written down.
It looks like you've got...
let me tell you what I got here, Lucas.
got?
I got Dylan Gass with 59 points. I got that they won 6 straight. I got that 2 of those wins are against the Minnesota Blue Hawks, their in-state rival, the second place team in their division. I have the fact that they have lengthened their lead in what may be, depth-wise, the first or second deepest division in the Premier. I've got a team that doesn't just skate with speed, doesn't just skate with skill, they skate with swagger. They're a tough place to play. Nobody wants to go play the Moose on the road right now. No one wants to have them come into their own building. They score. They win games. That's the biggest thing. They win. They're getting the goaltending. They have multiple goaltenders they trust between the pipes. And come playoff time, you're only as good as your goaltender. They always say in baseball, you're only as good as tomorrow's starting pitcher. Come playoff time in hockey, you're only as good as tomorrow's goaltender. And they've got a goaltender each and every day who can go in and just steal a W. They are exciting, they are fun, and they have made a huge jump. I'll tell you what, I didn't think this was a top 5 team. We did our power rankings, I will be honest with you, a month ago. This is a great organization. This is a great team on the rise. Great first year in the USPHL Premier here. I didn't think this was a top 5 team, but they have proven me wrong time and time again.
Well, you know what, Dan, you talked a little bit about, the statistics and kind of what they have. So in a rare reversal, I'll talk about a little bit of the intangibles of what the Moose got going on. The Moose can win any style, it seems. They can win a close game. They can blow a team out of the water. They can win at home. They can win on the road. They have the fan base, which is so important. But I've been watching some games lately. On hockey TV. I've been trying to learn kind of what make the Moose tick as a team, and it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. They've got speed in a division that's typically reserved for more physical play, but then they can also match you with that physical play. They've got skaters. They've got shooters. Their passing game has been exquisite. It's been exquisite. They're the teamwork, the way that they can move between offense and defense.
Exquisite was the guy who hosts the Pimp My Ride show, right? Exquisite, the rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, Exquisite. Sure. Yeah, he's a good rapper.
Yeah, sure.
All right, yeah, thank you. That's what I thought. It was Exquisite and Redman. Those two. Everybody knows Wu-Tang Clan. Well, I'll tell you what. The Wu-Tang Clan was nothing to mess with. We go to number 1. And this team sure ain't nothing to mess with, folks. We talked about the Moose, and I said this is a team I didn't think was top 5. I had my doubts until the last month of hockey that I've watched. I watched, like you said, as many games as we could watch of these teams we have. Every time I watch the Moose, I'm more impressed. This is a team that at no point did I doubt last go around, and I've not doubted them all year, and I continue to not doubt them because they continue to win nonstop. 36-6-2. They have scored an insane amount of goals. They have let up an insanely small amount of goals. When you score a lot more than you give up, and you win a lot more than you lose, you're usually number 1 in the power rankings, and that's the Charlotte Rush.
Dan, let me hit you with a number.
Go ahead.
Let me get your reaction, because I didn't talk about this number pre-game.
Go ahead.
Pre-show.
Pre-show.
They are scoring an average of about 6 goals a game.
I need to leave. I need to go to bed. That's it.
6 goals a game. On average, give or take a couple of decimal points. As we all know, you can't score half a goal, you can't score 3/4 of a goal, but they're scoring about 6 goals a game. That's against teams in their division. That's against teams in other division. That's against other teams on this power ranking. They're a team that if you're even around them, they'll score a goal on you, even if you're not playing hockey. They'll find, if you walk up in a tight hallway, they might hit you at a reflex because they're such a physical team. It's so rare that you find a team that skates as fast, hits as hard, and shoots as well as the Charlotte Rush.
This is a team right now that might as well be the Ric Flairs of the Premier. They're walking around with a title belt, and they're holding up and they're saying, come and get it, right? The only way I will make a bold prediction right now, the only way you take the title belt from this team is going to be an insane defensive effort, a lot of physicality, and for you third, fourth line forwards out there, a third, fourth line forward goal, and insane goaltending. Your goaltender is going to have to stop 30 to 40 shots. He's going to have to let up no more than 1 or 2 goals. He may have to throw up a goose egg for you to beat these guys. You need a goaltender to not just stand on their head, but to be a mason and build a brick wall behind him too, because that puck still might get through there. It's going to be a lot of work to beat those Charlotte Rush. Prove us wrong, though. If you didn't agree with that top 10 power rankings in the Premier and Elite, let us know. Write to us at @the_Dan K Show on Twitter, or to Facebook or Instagram, The Dan K Show. Let us know what we did wrong, what we did right, and let us know if you believe in the hashtag DanKBump, because it sounds like last go around a lot of people didn't, and that's what we're going to talk about in the Empty Net.
All right, folks, welcome to the Empty Net. This is going to be, I think, short and sweet. At least we're going to try. We'll see what happens. But we did have a lot of people reach out to us this week on Twitter. We had some people let us know about some games and some things happening. But I think the most important thing that happened was Dan got a very sassy call out from one Sonia Desmond, one of those aforementioned New Hampshire Junior Monarchs fans that really loves to bring that Monarchs pride. Go Narcs, I believe is
Narcs.
Go Narcs is the chant up there in the Great White Northeast. But yeah, so Sonia had a little bit of an issue with you taking some credit for some team success.
Yeah, and I'll try to explain it to the folks at home. From the beginning of the show, from launch, there's always been this thing called the hashtag DanKBump, and it's when either I say a team's going to do really, really well and they do, or I say a team's not been performing up to potential, or I don't rank them in one of our power rankings. They tend to turn it around, and the Skipjacks Hockey Club did just that. The Minnesota Moose did just that. There's been a lot of teams who have done just that. And some people may say, Dan, when you say a team's not doing as well as they should be and then they do really well, isn't that an incorrect prediction? I say no. I say it's my jus de vivre. It's my magic. It's my certain I don't know what. It is that little bit of something that makes the Dan K Show so special. And that Dan K bump is what creates great stories like the Skipjacks Hockey Club. You're welcome, hockey fans.
Well, I'm certainly not getting in between a fight between Dan and Sonia, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the rest of the Empty Net segment. We got a couple of tweets, as always. Tia Priest tweeted at us. She said the new All-Star interview episode is, it was like a little fire emoji. Is that fire or lit? I don't know if they're the same thing.
I told Lucas, I called him. I thought she was warning us that it was on fire. And I said, I'm not sure the internet works or how videos work or any of this stuff works. Lucas does all that. I thought it was on fire. I said, oh my God, Lucas, do you have a fire extinguisher? She said, what do you mean? I said, Tia Priest just let us know that our Epi is on fire. She said Epi as well. Epi is on fire. He said, no, Dan, that's not what that means.
Yeah, I tried to explain that, the video can't be on fire because the video is stored as ones and zeros in the memory card. Now it's uploaded to the internet. The internet itself cannot be on fire. It's a digital connection. We'll just move on to maybe the next thing.
Or we could go into the whole Keanu Reeves Matrix thing, and I can ask you if I'm made a binary code 1 and 0, because you're looking at me in a video right now at home, folks. I could be binary code. Keanu would let you know. Keanu! Go next, Lucas.
All right, so we had Uncle Nasty tweeting at us, letting us know that
Uncle
the Moose are still
on
the roll, also letting us know that they are using the hashtag #AntlersUp, which we always love to see. We had Kosa Youssef tweeting at us, telling us that he loves the look of the new logo. We love the look of the new logo as well. You can thank the USPHL marketing department for that one. They sent that to us. We did none of the work on that one. It looks great. It looks clean. Now we have two great looking logos. One that's a header that USPHL...
Two great looking hosts.
One that the USPHL marketing made for us, and one that a friend of mine made for us, Amelia Diaz. She's a great graphic designer. She made us that logo.
Amelia!
You might start seeing that on some Dan K Show swag coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we're really lucky to have a talented group of people that surround us. So we always want to shout that out as much as we can. But Dan, I think it's pretty much everything.
I mean, the one thing I would ask you, Lucas, is what do you think of this week's show? Thought I would get him there. I thought I was going to close the show. I always try every week to get Lucas to say something to close the show. He says nothing again. He dances Caddyshack style. As we close this out, I leave you with one last thing. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. And when Lucas does the Caddyshack dance, we all got to sing. I'm alright. Oh, nobody worry about me. Oh, yeah, give me a song. I wish I knew the words of that song.
I don't think anybody knows the words of that
Nobody
song.
really knows the words. It's more of a feeling than it is a song. It's like at the end of that one. Danny Noonan, great golfer, by the way. Very underrated golfer. I'd go Tiger Woods, Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus, and Danny Noonan is my favorite 4 golfers.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I did notice about that movie is that most of the golfers in that movie have some of the worst swings I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're not the best real golfers, but Danny Noonan is.
Rodney Dangerfield's accoutrements to his golfing equipment. He had a radio. He had a tap. He had a phone in the 80s. People just didn't have phones in the 80s.
Happen, but Rodney Dangerfield did it. He needed more respect.
He was rich enough. He's a property owner. He's a landowner.
Landowners. Dan K Show, one day Dan K Show will own its own land. Or not.
Yeah, probably not.
A lot of hassle.